You're listening to Kate Palmer from sparkletart.com.
Today I'm going to be showing you how to colour your own flowers so that they look like something expensively gorgeous and shabby chic. You'll be using Copic Markers, Starburst Sprays from Lindy's Stamp Gang, and some Stickles for that final bit of bling. I love coloured flowers, but I don't have enough space to keep one of every colour that's perfect for every project. So using this technique, you can make your own, and they're fantastic. This colouring technique is quite simple, but it's also very versatile. Just by varying the colours, you can get a wide variety of different looks, but what really makes these special and stand out from the others for me is the Lindy's Stamp Gang gorgeous sparkly sprays added at the end.
So, what do you need? You will need some Copic Various ink. This is the blending or colourless blending ink. I've got a Copic R39, R35, E31 and E35. Some white flowers, of course. Some Creme Brulee Cream Starburst Spray from Lindy's Stamp Gang. And your favourite Stickles. Now, you'll need some white paper flowers. I like the mulberry paper flowers. These particular ones are from I Am Roses. So I've got a couple of different sizes, big ones and little ones. To start with, grab the palest brown of the Copics, which is E31, and just colour in all of your flowers. And what I mean by that is just literally colour in the petals. Now, I don't want you to be perfect here. A little imperfection in this technique is good. So just a quick going over. I don't even want you to colour in all of the white. Just as quickly as you can. Scrub the colour over the petal just to get some of that colour on there. You can see I've got sort of scrappy little bits here that aren't particularly coloured. That's okay, that's all that you need. You may choose to colour the backs of some of the ones that you can get to. You might not. That's up to you, it doesn't really matter. I like to just add a little colour to the back here, just in case you see the flower from an odd angle.
On the tighter petals at the top, all you'll be able to do is dab a little bit of colour onto those. That's fine, they don't need to be evenly coloured. At this point your flower should look a little bit like this. Now you'll notice that it's not all coloured. This is exactly how it's supposed to be right now. Make sure to leave a little white.
Now for these smaller flowers, because they're so tight and so tiny, all you can really do is just sort of dab that colour around. Get it on as many of the petals as you can, at least some on each. As long as there's a little bit of brown on there, that's all that really matters. So this one, as you can see, it's a bit ratty looking, but that's all you'll need to do. Alright, so that was E31 and all of my little flowers now have a base colour. Next, grab E35. And what I want you to do is just go and edge the flower petals in E35. Again, you can see that I'm just being quite rough. You don't need to be particularly fancy or careful with this, just get that colour on. In fact, when you're doing vintage flowers, sometimes the rougher it is, the better they look. If you lay that colour on too perfectly, they don't really kind of look real. I realise it's a fake flower, but they just don't look quite right. So get that colour on roughly until it looks a little bit like this. So you've just got that colour down. You're going to do that to the rest of the flowers as well. Again, just roughly. Now I'll often do 1 or 2 extra flowers at this stage, just in case anything bad happens. I have been known to accidentally drip ink on them and ruin them. I'm a bit of a messy crafter. And a couple of extra flowers never goes astray. It's always easier to make a couple extra than it is to try and recreate something later as well. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the R35. And this is just adding a little bit of red into the mix. or in this case it's technically coral, Now I'm just using the edge of the Copic marker for this. If you use the tip, not only can the rough paper flower damage the tip, but you'll sort of get little swipes and streaks where you might not have wanted them. If you use the edge, it's only making contact with the very tip of the flower because it's a flat surface. Now on this large one, I'm making sure to add a little bit to these back edges of the flowers. So at the moment, they look like this. You've got the vintage brown as the base colour, the darker brown over the top, and then that first layer of red. For this last red, which is R39, I'm only going to add it to the centre of the medium and larger flowers. So I'm just going to add a little bit just to the tips on these smaller ones. And then this medium sized one, I'm just going to add it in the middle. So not on all of the outside petals. And now what we're going to do is use the Copic Various ink and drip it all over the flowers. Now what that does is it bleeds the colours into each other a little bit, and it also softens them. So I like to just drip it onto the flowers. Now this is an alcohol product, so you need to use it in a well ventilated area. So I just drip it on each of the petals. Now I'm not even using drops here, I'm just literally squeezing the tip and letting it run down the paper. Because the paper is porous, it sucks from the bottle and just sort of sucks down the side of the flowers.
The next step is to dry the flowers with a heat gun. Now this is really important. If you let them air dry, you won't achieve the same effects. The heat gun actually results in what looks like almost burnt looking edges. They're gorgeous.
You end up with something like this. Now those tips are much darker than the colour I originally put on. The next step is just to spray these all over with the Creme Brulee cream.
You could also use any of the Glitz Spritz sprays from Lindy's Stamp Game for this. The key to a fabulous result is to absolutely soak the flower with shimmer.
Now the only problem you might have is that with some brands of roses, the water-based products make the green on the leaves run, so you'll just need to see how that goes.
The flowers don't actually need to be dried with a heat gun at this stage. You could leave them to air dry. I just like the heat gun because it's a little bit quicker. Alright, so just check out that gorgeous shimmer from the Starburst spray I just added. That really makes it for me. It is just super stunning.
Now I actually like the fact that the green runs because you get a little bit of variation on the edges of the roses. And for me that looks a little bit more realistic, so I don't actually mind that the green on here runs a little bit. I really like the way that that looks. Alright, now you need to leave these until they're completely dry, and then we add the stickles.
I'm going to be adding platinum stickles to the edge of most of the petals, but you could choose to add whatever colour you like, and you can add as much or as little as you want to enhance the shimmer. And then just put these aside until everything is completely dry before you try and use them.
So I'll just give you a closer look at this fantastically gorgeous larger flower.
I think you'll agree that that touch of sparkle really makes this flower something special. Without it, it's pretty. With it, it's stunning. You should see these actually on a project when they're all sparkling and shimmering. They are just amazing. Now, just to give you a few extra ideas, here are a few other colour combinations that you could use. This one also uses the Creme Brulee cream, but I've done the tips in purple so that you get a much different look to the flower. And on this pretty aqua flower, I've used the Glitz Spritz rather than the Creme Brulee cream Starburst for another different look.
So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how to make these gorgeous coloured flowers
using Copic's, Stickles and the supremely gorgeous Starburst sprays from Lindy's Stamp Gang.
And don't limit yourself to just the shabby chic look. You could make these in any colour that you like. The technique is the same.
Lindy's Stamp Gang sprays are available from lindysstampgang.com or from your local stockist. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching how I made these shabby chic flowers, and that hopefully it will inspire you to make a few of your own.
Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye.